Throughout the years, football has been littered with iconic moments, often provided by the game's defining players. From Pelé to Puskás, Zico to Zidane. Career-defining moments, however, are few and far between. In Munich's Olympic Stadium in 1988, with one swing of his right boot, Marco van Basten delivered his.
The goal I made was a long ball from Muren.
The cross was really too high, way too high.
Who was taking the time to arrive.
You cannot shoot from that angle.
I just give it a try. And it went out in a special way in the goal.
It was very difficult, but he made the decision.
He can do that another million times, he will never score that goal.
It was not luck because he did it.
On the outskirts of Utrecht, Marco van Basten's father, Joop, still lives in the flat where his son spent many of his childhood years. Today, Marco's former bedroom has been transformed into something more akin to a museum, dedicated to the career of one of football's most outstanding natural talents.
Himself, he doesn't care much for it at all. Even when he visits, he doesn't go into his room to see how it all looks. I did all of this myself. If it had been up to him, well, he just doesn't see the need. He's very down to earth. He really earned everything in here. That's why I kept it all up to date, with a view to it being put on display sometime in the future. Because his legacy in football will live on, and he deserves it.
Joop van Basten himself had been an uncompromising defender for amateur side DOS. The game was in the Van Basten blood, though for the young Marco, what eventually became burning ambition was still just a flickering flame.
I wasn't really that focused on it. I was just enjoying it. I wasn't really dreaming from the beginning. I wanted to become one of the best players of the world.
He just loved every sport. And that was his lifeblood. But it would always be around the neighbourhood playing football. He was just made for football.
And little by little I get more specialized in football, and okay, then I was thinking about becoming a professional player.
Like many before him, as a youngster, Marco played anywhere he could. In later years, his name would grace a sports complex built on the site of his earliest footballing forays, a mere corner kick away from his childhood home. But it was just across the Amsterdam Rhine Canal at local sports club UVV where he truly fell under the game's influence. One of his earliest coaches was Fred de Klein.
He hated losing. He only wanted to win right from the start, and that is very important. There was a part of him from a very young age. He would play football on the street day and night, and even there he wanted to win every game.
It was his life. He couldn't even sleep at night because of it. He had to win.
Such resolve would prove essential. Marco was already facing his future.
If you play on the centre-forward position, I had always fight, and I always they marked me very well. So I was telling to my father, yeah, I would like to play more football. So maybe it's better to play in the midfield. And my father said, no, just stay in the attack, because it's better, because that's the most difficult position, and there it's the position where you learn the most.
Marco quickly learned he was a natural goal-scorer, though at times aptitude and attitude were far from equal partners. On such occasions, Joop's influence proved decisive.
He once had a defender marking him who was 2 feet taller than him, and this guy did nothing but kick him from behind.
They just tried to stop me in every way.
He was so angry. He walked off down the canal and I saw him go, so I went after him.
My father said to me, okay, if you don't go back to the field, I will kick you back in the field by myself.
So he went back, and having gotten over his frustration, he completely fooled the guy, scored twice and won the match.
He explained, okay, if the opponent plays like that, you have to take it like a compliment because they are not able to stop you, and okay, that's part of the football, and so I accepted it.
I've seen this kind of thing several times. Once I was sitting in the stand by the pitch and he came to sit next to me. So I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "It's raining." So I said, "Either get back on the pitch or I'll kick your backside." You see, when they're young you have to teach them persistence and show them what they should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, we talked a lot about football, and he was also very critical often. But in the end I think it helped.
Clearly talented beyond his years, Marco's reputation was further enhanced by an endorsement from the legendary Johan Cruyff.
He had amazing qualities. I mean, with his foot, right foot, left foot, his head, he was very intelligent.
Word was spreading. In Milan, former player Sandro Mazzola was still on the staff at Internazionale and, having organised a five-a-side tournament, invited Cruyff to bring along a Dutch team.
He said, "I'll bring you this 15-year-old. Marco was only 15 then. And I said to him, "Look, this is a professional tournament." And he said, no, this boy's already halfway there. You'll see what a player he is." He was playing with great players, both on his team and the opposition, but he wasn't at all afraid. He wanted the ball, he ran around, he dribbled, he took shots. Straight away I saw this was a real talent.
After nearly a decade at UVV, it was clear Marco's ability would take him further. Ultimately, and fittingly, to Holland's most decorated club. Ajax had genuine European pedigree. 3 consecutive European Cups during the early 70s had made sure of that. For Van Basten, it was a logical move, and progress was rapid as he learnt from a bona fide Dutch master.
Cruyff came back from, I think, America, and he was training some trainings with the youth of Ajax with us. So we were playing with him, and that was an honor for us, and we were really excited also.
One of the problems I had was always talking, always showing. It helped him a lot, I think.
I was coming to Ajax when I was 16 and played for the youth, and then halfway I was playing for the second team of Ajax. And then in April I could make my debut for the first team of Ajax.
Marco came on as a substitute for Johan Cruyff, and it took him only 10 minutes or so to score. And of course that was the best thing that could have happened to him.
Van Basten scored 9 times in his first full season at De Meer, but even as a teenager he was already his own man.
More introvert and more quiet. On the other hand, Marco isn't the guy who's always friendly and quiet, because if something is boring him, he will tell you.
Well, it was difficult. He was not always a team player. Marco was always on his own way in the pitch, and but outside of that, he was a friendly person, and is a friendly person.
He knew what he wanted, and he wanted to do everything to reach his goals.
Van Basten. Moeilijke hoek, redt hij het of niet? Ja hoor! Marco van Basten. Van Basten, goal! Schiet het goal! Wat fantastisch! Van Basten, prachtig! Ingeschoten goal!
Van Basten, schitterend! Schitterend, Marco van Basten.
Playing alongside the likes of Cruyff, Koeman and Rijkaard, it was inevitable the young striker would fulfil his potential. And how? An astonishing 117 goals in 112 matches, many of them marked with true genius, meant Van Basten finished as top scorer for 4 consecutive seasons. In the 85-86 season alone, he scored 37 goals in only 26 league matches, a feat which brought him the Golden Boot. In 1987, Ajax reached the European Cup Winners' Cup final where they met Lokomotiv Leipzig in Athens. For Van Basten, it was a landmark moment.
I realized that we had a possibility to make history, because winning a European Cup was something special. And I had something by myself, okay, if there is a possibility in the first chance, get it. Because if you don't take it, the next time it's going to be more difficult.
Van Basten, het is
1-0. The first step was something done, and they couldn't say afterwards, okay, he's a good player but not really a winner. And I was a person who has already won European Cup, so that was something that gives you a good feeling.
Back in Milan, the young Dutchman had not been forgotten. During his early years at Ajax, he'd signed a pre-contract agreement with Internazionale, thanks to the continued interest of Sandro Mazzola. Towards the end of that season, though, Van Basten had fallen ill.
The news came to me that he would have to stay where he was for the next 6 months. I couldn't wait 6 months, as we had to present the new team. So in the end, we never drew up a definitive contract. And then things changed in Italy. We were no longer allowed to sign foreign players. And when eventually we were able to, someone a lot better than me took him to AC Milan.
For the Nerazzurri, Van Basten was the one that got away. Worse still, he would go on to achieve legendary status with their San Siro rivals.
At that time, the big players went to Italy. AC Milan was a very traditional club, and there was a new president who wanted to make history. So that was the reason why we chose for Milan. Because he was really eager to win something. He had the power and also the money to realize something really big.
Silvio Berlusconi's dream was realised as Milan won their first Scudetto since 1979. But for Van Basten, the alarm bells were already ringing.
I didn't play well because of my problem with my ankle, and then on a certain moment, okay, I have to stop because I can't train anymore, I can't play anymore. So I went to Barcelona to a doctor who had nothing to do with Ajax or Milan or whatever, and he